How are we all doing, my blessed dear ones? I'm so glad to see that you're all doing well down the road, except for a few. And this video is probably going to be a little stronger, I think, than some of the other ones I made, because some of the comments that have been made by Sherry Watts and Lisa Lopez, and so I do want to deal with Sherry Watts. This is even a chiropractor here, which is amazing to me that she would make these kind of comments. She's runs wholesale out of here and stuff, and these comments are just shows a level of unawareness this person has. So let's talk about this. I want to make this video again, and this is probably how many times have we talked about the healing crisis? You know, so let's talk about this a bit, because this is very, very important for most of you to understand. Sherry Watts, you should understand this by now, by far. So some of these comments, the first time I read this, I said to myself, you know, this is the human state of consciousness. It's fear-based. It's hard to deal with, because you have people like this, and it was rude. Your comments were very rude. I didn't like your insinuations here. What you said about the clinic and stuff. Try going somewhere else. And you're a chiropractor, and you made this comment about you should actually see a doctor. Well, Sherry, I don't think you've been sick enough. You need to see a few more medical doctors before you realize truth. And go ahead. So this is a little, everyone here is a little wound up about you and what you said here, because they know who you are and they know about you and stuff. And I think you were way out of line here, way out of line. So let's talk about that a minute. Let's talk about the healing crisis, because there's no school that you're going to go to that's going to tell you about them, except naturopathic school. And, you know, most of the naturopathic schools today are horrible. So this is the problem, understanding what healing crises are, trying to figure out whether you're getting worse or getting better. And I've said this before, your symptoms happen twice. Symptomology happens twice. One when you're creating it, two when you're uncreating it. These are the two times you're going to have symptoms. These symptoms have a wide variety, a range unbelievable. Just look up the word diseases and you'll see the range of acidosis and what goes on with cells and the fluids that take care of those cells. That's what we're dealing with, a whole range of this. My gift this lifetime has been able to simplify all this for you guys so you can have a remedy, so you can understand and have a remedy, because the negative forces control the mind. They like to make it so complex that it makes you fear-based and then controlled by those that represent the negative forces, like allopathy, governmental agencies, things like this. This is how governments take over their people, because people are so fear-based. I've never seen species so fear-based in my life. That's why animals and plants are so much better to work with. It is somewhat difficult. Jennifer, Brenda, myself, Kathy, we're all the most advanced in our understanding of that. Of detox and all of that. Drew and Shannon are fairly new, but they do understand it. So when you call in a healing crisis, we are not sure how to deal with that sometimes. Sometimes we pull you off of the herbs so it'll back it down a little bit for you. Sometimes we tell you to increase the herbs. We have to play with this like you have to play with this. There's no school that tells you this is what you do when this happens. So you got to understand that, Sherry, and all you other people that are involved in some of these things that get twisted out of shape. Pain's a horrible thing, there's no question. And I have a deep, deep sympathy for those in pain. But we've all created this ourselves. We came into these genetically modified bodies, and now we have to deal with these things. And thank God there's enough information and knowledge from people like us and those that have worked in this field. We run a very top-notch clinic here. We're very ethical and everything else. We don't rip people. We don't do anything. And anyone that insinuates that, get off of my site, because I do everything for you guys to help you to get well. And there's just no book on this. So I've seen, like I said, probably 150,000 people in my life. I know that the natural hygienic people have detoxed hundreds of thousands of people through the years. So there are people that have done fasting and detoxing, Arnold Ehret. So yes, we have some information through all these years from people who have done this, groups that have done this, but This is a wide range problem, and that is unwinding what you've created in your body. Even though you might have created this unconsciously, it is now becoming conscious, and that's why we're doing this site, to help you all become conscious, become aware. So you're no more a victim, you're no more fear-based. And Sherry, you as a chiropractor should know better. So this is part of the problem. So I hope I'm talking to the right person here. We've looked you up. This is a comment, I think, on Facebook and stuff, and it was just too rude. It just pissed us all off. And maybe that's why you said that. And yes, when you call here to this clinic, we're going to try to help you the best we can. We spend all day free helping people on the phones. Now, how do I pay for those people? And that's my point, is we're all trying our best. I have to educate my staff. It's hard to have, we're so busy, it's hard to have meetings to help them. We're all tired all the time by working so much. So just realize we're doing everything we can to help mankind, because it is tough. Man is in deep trouble. And some of you guys are in deep trouble with your health issues. No question about it. And unwinding this isn't like that. Unwinding that is a bit of a job. And you have to roll up your sleeves and grab this like you would tear open anything and take it on. Learn what you can, because we're only helping you as much as we can. I mean, there's no one that has all the answers anywhere out there. So there's times when the healing crisis can be so strong that we take you off all the herbs. Sometimes we leave you on one or two. Sometimes once in a blue moon, an herbal formula could be the problem. Rare that is the case. Most healing crises are simply acidosis reversing itself. Simply what is going on in the body reversing itself. And I've said this before, understanding the lymph system is very, very important, and understanding the kidneys. You'll find that nowhere on this planet. This is a problem. Very few of us have expertise in this field. So this is why it's very difficult, because we've been suppressed for years. Very few of you understand what we older people have been through in this field. Threatened constantly by states, locked up, fraud, felonies and stuff like this. I mean, it's unreal what the negative forces have done through the governmental agencies to block your ability to have this knowledge. That's the bottom line to this. And so you're lucky to even have this knowledge. We're lucky to be here to give it to you. And that's sad to say in the universes of God. You know what I mean? If everybody wakes up and realizes they're just instruments for God, maybe we would turn things around, and governments, or the people in the governments are just people. Narcissistic control freaks. And this is the problem. We've allowed this to happen because we're fear-based. Well, I submit to you guys, don't be fear-based. Be strong in your knowledge and your awareness. You guys are gaining tremendous knowledge by detoxifying yourselves. You know, you're gaining it. And I learn every day from this. I do. I learn from all of you guys. And I've learned for 40 years from all of you guys. Sure, I've read a lot through my lifetime. Yes, I've studied. Yes, I've went to a lot of different schools. And I picked up all information from my clients and from the schools that I've attended. So, but this grouping of all this information is all we can do for you. So we do our very, very best. Sometimes we want to increase the herbs. This situation of detoxification is knowing when to hold them and when to fold them. So Sherry and Lisa, please, you've got to realize that we're doing our very best to help all of you. And that detox isn't something you can go read in a manual. I'm doing my best to give as much information about detox as there is. But the detox symptoms are probably a million strong. Who knows how many different symptoms you can have during detoxification. And sometimes it's rough. A lot of pain, a lot of problems. There's no question. Sometimes your bowels just cut off loose and you start running. Your body purges itself. Let me tell you, your body's doing all of this. Understanding the lymph system is so important, because if you have tumors up here in the head, in the brain, and in the neck, you can't get rid of them until all these lymph nodes are cleaned, and they must clean through the kidneys. So you've got cells feeding into septic tanks, which are lymph nodes, and then these lymph nodes are breaking down these acids and sending the rest out to the kidneys or through the skin. This is how the body works. This is how the body eliminates cellular waste. The problem we face is extreme kidney and adrenal gland weaknesses. And so we're having serious filtration problems of the giant lymphatic system. And you can forget allopathy because they're the worst. They have no knowledge of this. Chiropractors are not very knowledgeable at this, unfortunately, because I have a ton of friends that are chiropractors and I love them all. But you got to get with it because a lot of the things you learned in school is not true. The same thing with a lot of sciences out there. There's theories that are baseless. And so you just have to learn that all of us are in our own expertises, and you have to trust what we know. And if you're not getting satisfaction with Drew or Shannon, well, by all means, ask Jennifer or myself. Because outside of that, we're the same way. We're going to pull, we're going to draw. Every time someone calls me in serious healing crisis, I've got to determine right then and there what I have to do to help you with that. What spice do you have at home? What do you have at home to help the symptoms of spasticity or whatever, bleeding or whatever? This is a serious process of getting well. I try to make fun of it so we can all have fun with this, because there is the serious side of this. But the other serious side of this is the cancers, the pain, and everything else that people are experiencing. And if you look through the tremendous YouTubers that are doing this and getting well, I think you ought to take note of that. I think you guys on the YouTube and on the Facebooks have just literally kicked butt. But when you're a practitioner and you're working with people, you've got to get with this. And Sherry, you're a practitioner. That's even more disgusting that you would write something like that. I mean, it's just, I'm appalled at that. And so you're probably going to get a little call from Jennifer too. Not nice, because we're just trying to help everybody the best we can. And healing crises are something else. Your tumors can grow, your tumors can do all kinds of things before you can remove them, no question. The fact that there is a remedy, it should be well understood, but most people are so lost with medical stupidity that they don't realize that there's a remedy to their problems. We have got so lost, we forgot there's a constitution in this country. We're so lost, we forgot there's a remedy to getting well and healthy. And so it's time we stand up and take that awareness back. So I apologize for those of you that have to hear this like this, but it's just you've got to get with these healing crises. They are not fun. Matter of fact, my significant other and I had salmonella poisoning over the weekend. We can't figure it out. Lettuce, tomatoes, we're trying to see what out of the foods we ate could give us that. And so we were definitely sick. Did I call someone and say, well, what can... No. You know what I'm saying? We have to understand these healing crises and just what they can be and what happens when we're sick, and how we have to help ourselves to purge our bodies and get this stuff out of ourselves. And so understanding how you get sick is part and parcel to understanding healing crisis and detoxification. And what is detoxification? I'm not sure that a lot of people truly understand what detoxification really is. I mean, I read a book called something about detoxification by a medical doctor, and it was the most stupidest book I've ever read. And it was like, oh my God, here's people giving opinions that are not even in the field. So it's just, you're in a world, and I think this is why Jesus went crazy at the marketplace. You know, it's a marketplace, and sometimes it drives me crazy just like Jesus did. Just a marketplace of different levels of unconsciousness and unawareness.